We often hear the expressions such as, the grass is always greener on the other side, hey, or you win some, you lose some, right? Well, nah, stuff that. I'm more of a let's get the best of both worlds kind of guy. So what happens to Planetside 2 when you try to slam an infiltrator and a light assault together into a mixing tube? What's the outcome going to be there? Well, I believe we've found that answer. G'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're returning once again with another entry to the Time to Gear Up series. So, for those of you out there who have recently found your way to the channel, and have also chosen to stick around for a little while, firstly, I'm sorry for your lost insanity and obviously your IQ points that you've suffered by hanging around me for too long, because it's just nothing but endless craziness here. But secondly, the Time to Gear Up series is the series where you guys get to experience some neuron activation, something that I seem to be incapable of achieving nowadays, and craft a loadout for me to use in-game. You do this by leaving your suggestion in the comment section down below, and it's up to the community as a whole to vote for the loadout you all want to see me feel pain and despair with the most. This can be anything from an unorthodox loadout that is surprisingly effective to a meta sweat loadout that is designed to print me enough certs to induce some inflation into the Araxis economy, or maybe just want to send me into therapy with an absolute joke of a loadout that is designed to move my account-wide KDR into the negatives. You do you, boo. Get creative. But nonetheless, today's loadout comes to us from Range Runner, who brings us an NC Light Assault loadout titled the Flying Sniper. And basically, yeah, an NC Light Assault and Infiltrator decided to get a little frisky at the local watering hole after a drunken night out, celebrating their bonus checks I imagine, and produced this little bastard of a child before team killing each other. Naturally. So, let's get into the loadout itself here and see what we're dealing with. And we'll start off by just quickly clarifying this real quickly here, because yeah, that right there is a 6x scope on a carbine. You know, the kind of scope that you see on things like, you know, DMRs or bolt-action rifles. Nah, today we've jammed a 6x scope on a bloody stockless carbine, the ACX-11 to be exact. And you know how the stock on most guns are meant to help you absorb some of the recoil into your shoulder? Well, my eyelid was copying that kind of abuse with this kit instead. Am I surprised by this? No. And look, this does give me a great and unique opportunity to really analyze the nostril hairs of my opponents before I take them out here. Really allows me to live a germaphobe's dream by getting close and intimate without actually getting close and intimate. But by the same token, the very first thing I picked up on here was how aggressively a carbine's damage drops off over range, even the ACX-11's, which is designed to be the heavy hitter of the NC options. We're going to elaborate on that point a bit more in the video later on, but we're also running a compensator, angled forward grip, and the high velocity ammunition on this ACX-11, which normally would make the ACX-11 a recoilless beast that just becomes a point and click adventure. But when you put the 6x scope on it, and suddenly it feels like I'm driving a car on a cobbled road without any suspension. In other words, shit becomes bouncy as hell. Really trained me to hone in that trigger finger a little bit, has to be said. In our secondary slot, yep, we're doubling down on the sniper kit here with the good old NS44L Blackhand. This wasn't a required pick for the loadout, I did have some freedom here, but it was heavily recommended by Range Runner, so I decided to oblige. And look, there's something to say about smacking some poor sod with a fucking pistol from 150 meters away. It just hits a little bit different. But if someone did breach my germaphobe safety bubble with this kit, then I was well and truly in trouble without a CQC dominant sidearm. But anyway, moving on. In our ability slot, we have our good old Icarus jump jets here, because if we're going to be a flying sniper, why not be a rocket ship flying sniper, right? Don't worry. We're also rocking the impulse grenades to give us that good old horizontal boost when we need it. I actually was really thankful that we at least had this jet and grenade combo to work with today. This has been my new go-to, and the skirmisher jets, after getting used to how to handle the Icarus jets, just feel far too slow for me nowadays. Feels like I'm trudging through aerial mud. So there was a silver lining there at least. I also got the freedom of choice on my utility slot here as well, because I have to say that the temptation to run C4 was up there. It really was. But I had a good, long, hard think about it, and I thought to myself, Cammy, this is a sniper kit. Running C4 would be like saying you're sniping, and then using a 105mm howitzer cannon because, nah bro, I just needed to snipe that whole town at once, you understand? So, no, the logic there didn't pan out for me. I caved into my medkit addiction once again, and yes, I need help. Implant-wise, we're rocking the Assassin and Sensor Shield implants today. The comment implored that I used Minor Cloak, but I tried using it and it was just producing some of the most boring gameplay. Watching snails race, would have been a more stimulating experience. And, well, I think I nodded off in my chair a couple of times while waiting for Minor Cloak to come into effect. So I made an executive decision on that one. And that right there is the kit of the day, and there's no denying that it makes for a pretty unique playstyle. As I said before, trying to take the best of both worlds and trying to make them gel in a way that really shouldn't work. Now, if you wanted to try and take this build for a spin yourself, then it's going to run you anywhere between 2300 certs all the way up to 6290 certs. I guess that's the price we pay for being greedy sods who want everything all at once, huh? It's funny actually, if you were to look at how expensive this loadout actually is, and then compare it to how many rounds you actually get to fire while using it, it seems almost criminal, to be honest. From a price to bullets perspective, shit, I would say I would want a refund, especially when compared to the last episode, which was titled Being Really, Really Terran, where we were just sort of spraying lead in the general direction of anything that even gave us a funky look. Friendlies included, of course, but Range Runner here gave us a bit more of a crash course as to how we should be aiming to use this thing. He stated, "The whole idea of this loadout is to be a light assault who wants to be an infiltrator and take advantage of his jetpack to reach places other cloakers can't. Steep hills, towers, so on. Use your Minor Cloak to stay hidden as you look for a target." Well, in this case, sorry mate, no Minor Cloak here. "But use the powered scope ACX-11 to humiliate other cloakers by out-sniping them as a light assault. Use the combination of impulse grenades and Icarus to escape sudden danger. Give those oppressive TI loyalists one hell of a trauma by sniping them from the trees. Keep sniping them from the trees to the point that every tree a Terran spots will induce an instant panic, causing the TR to orbital bombard every tree in Araxis. And when the crazy alien waifu-loving cultists of the Vanu are distracted laughing at the TR's widespread fear of trees, clap their skin-tight spandex cheeks so hard." This is starting to sound like it should be on a different video streaming platform. Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, no, clap them cheeks so hard that they'll be sent flying back to the alien planet in which they came from, unable to take a seat for the entire... Oh, God. Cool, so that there is the loadout. We've also got a bit of lore backstory as well from Range Runner, but this video is already getting lengthy as it is, so I'll leave you all to find that on your own volition here. But that is everything we've got to work with here today, and if I may, I want to loop us back to a point we made earlier in the video. That being, holy crap, did I feel the damage drop off that is in place on carbines across the board while using this loadout. As someone who plays a more aggressive playstyle, more often than not, I'm almost always engaging targets in close to medium ranges. So, you know, maximum damage ranges where bullets actually rearrange the physical structure of opponents. Here with this loadout and the ranges in which I was engaging at, it felt like my bullets were merely suggestions for the enemy to take damage with. Was very much like, oh, you see, I'm gonna shoot you now, but if you don't want to take damage, that's okay too, you do you, boo. The loadout was officially called the Flying Sniper, but it more felt like the Flying Tickler, which, if I'm being honest, sounds like a name I'll see on Crime Watch one day. There's no denying that the build tested my ability to score follow-up hits and really maximize my tap firing skills because, well, if I didn't hit subsequent hits, then people were just gonna sort of walk away and walk away just fine without me getting the kill on them. And by the gameplay, you'll see that the results did vary big time. I must say here as well, that using the Icarus jump jets to get some height, or using the new flanks with the impulse grenades in tow was the kind of freedom I needed for this build. Obviously, as a cloaker, you have the option to cloak and maneuver your way around the battlefield to find those sweet angles of attack. Or even use said cloak as a means to line up your next critical blow to an opponent before they can even see you. Well, that's not a luxury we had here, and it meant that we had to rely on more conventional means. Even if the term conventional here means flinging myself at Muck Jesus to try and outpace the bullets that are being fired from enemies. The added flexibility that came from the additional movement was a great step in making the loadout just that little bit more usable here. And it also really cemented the fact as to why I really don't want to see infiltrators come with jump jets someday. Generally speaking, the loadout was a bit of fun. If I was to do this again, I think I would definitely trade the ACX-11 for, say, a Baron with slug rounds, because, again, I really felt the bullet drop-off of the ACX-11 here at the ranges in which I was meant to be using this gun, and there were just so many times where an enemy got shot by me and went, oh, okay, that tickled, and then it proceeded to just fucking walk away. And noting that carbines tend to not have the best muzzle velocity in the game, then yeah, it was a bit of a pain at times. But generally speaking, it was a fun loadout to break the norm of experiences I tend to find on my light assault class. And I appreciate Range Runner for pulling it out, and for you guys for voting for it. But now it's time we look forward, and by doing that, I want you all to get in the comment section down below and start rubbing those 2 brain cells that you have left together to bring us another loadout to use in-game. Leave your thoughts or vote down below, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button, as it does go a long way to support the channel. And of course, if you're new here, then consider subscribing as well, guys, as that also goes a long way in keeping you up to date as to whenever we go live or whenever we release a brand new video. All social media links are also located down below, so I would recommend checking us out down there as well. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.